Hi everyone, welcome back to my next video. I am standing in one of my favorite lakes. It doesn't look like much of a lake right now, does it? I've been coming to Oregon for the last 4 years, and I've spent a lot of them at this lake. In fact, you've seen a lot of my videos that I've shot at these lakes. Well, where I'm standing right now, the water should be over my head. Every year, typically, the water would be over my head right about now. Every year it declines, it goes down, 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 and by September it's pretty low. I have never seen it this low. And so that's all tied in to the drought and the heat waves and the heat domes and the fires, the forest fires that have covered the entire American West. And so today I want to talk to you about that. I think we are at a crossroads, at a moment in time where coming out of the pandemic, hopefully coming out of the pandemic, who knows, and all around the world, globally, we are seeing a crisis of climate disasters. It's August 12th, 2021 when I'm shooting this, and just in the last couple of weeks, we all saw the flooding in Germany and all across Europe. Whole towns just, people hanging on. But it wasn't just Germany, it was all of Europe, and it wasn't just Europe, it was globally. In China, the week after the floods in Germany, they had 2 feet of rain that fell in 2 days. 2 feet of rain in 2 days. We tend not to follow a lot of those countries like we do Europe. But there are, if you go online, you can see a lot of the videos. They had a subway that was caught. Of course, it stopped running because it was all underwater. And the people shot videos, and you could watch the water rising in the subway, and there were quite a few people that died because they were flooded. But it isn't just Europe and China. It's been India and Pakistan and Algeria. And so there have been these floods globally, all over the world in the last 2 weeks. It's just incredible amount of floods. But of course, beyond that, it's the heat. Here in Oregon, I've been staying at my sister's because we've been caring for my mother. And she just recently passed away, but we've been here caring for my mother for a long time. And it hit 117 degrees in Medford, all-time record. It'd never been that kind of warm. And it was over 105, 110 for like a week straight. And you know all this, you've heard it in the news. And that was true up in Portland and Seattle and Las Vegas and Phoenix and Los Angeles, just all over the West. It's this incredible, incomprehensible heat going on. And it's tinder dry. And so that's why now we have fires. And so all over the West, we have fires going on. Now, of course, last year in 2020 was a horrible, horrible fire season. At this time last year, there'd been 2 million acres burned across the West. Today, in 2021, at this point, in the same point in time, there have been over 3 million acres. So we're way ahead of last year, which was horrible, and we're just getting warmed up. It's going to be an incredible year for fires. And of course, you hear about that because we're Americans and we're all in this together. We're taking care of each other. There are fires all over the world. Athens, Greece hit 117 degrees this last week. All-time record, of course. That's the standard. All-time record. No one's ever seen it, this kind of heat. There are fires all around Athens. Greece and Italy and Turkey and Algeria and the whole Mediterranean area is on fire, and at these extreme, incomprehensible temperatures. And it's just going on globally. These are just the ones that make the news. There are small records and superheat and fires everywhere globally. We are at a crossroads at human history coming out of this pandemic. And I want you to be aware that it's time to take a real serious reckoning of our lives. And there is a group, a UN group called the IPCC. They've been around for 30 years. Every 5 to 7 years, they put out a report. And they just put out a report. And IPCC stands for Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. They've been studying climate change and giving reports and recommendations to the globe for the last 30 years. This report is staggering. It says it's now or never. We've nipped this thing in the bud. We stop climate change, or we just watch this happen worse and worse and worse every year. And it isn't just all of a sudden this year is so bad. We've seen a steady increase over the last 30 years, 40 years. And so they've been studying it, and now they say it's unequivocally man-made climate change. You know, we used to call these things, these climate disasters, fires, floods, hurricanes. Last year, talking about hurricanes, last year was the most hurricanes ever to form in the Atlantic Basin. The most hurricanes that ever struck the United States of America. The most amount of damage done. The Louisiana coast got hit 5 times last year by named storms. It got so bad we went through all the alphabet, and then we started over again on the Greek alphabet, and we got almost all the way through it. The most named storms ever. And this year, 2021, the earliest storm that ever formed in the Atlantic was this year, and the first named storm to hit the United States, the earliest ever, was this year. So things are changing. And we're at a crossroads. And so the IPCC has this report that's coming out, and I want to read you one of their conclusions from it. It says, we need transformational change operating on processes and behaviors at all levels. In other words, something's got to give. The world is prepared, needs to be prepared for disaster. At all, we need transformation at all levels: individual, communities, business, institutions, and governments. We must redefine our way of life and consumption. We must redefine our way of life and consumption. And I'm here to tell you about a great way to redefine your life and consumption. You get out of that house, which is just consuming massive amounts of fossil fuels and pumping massive amounts of carbon dioxide into the air, which is causing this climate change, and you move into a vehicle. But you say, Bob, you'll get so few miles to the gallon in a van or an RV. And that is true. That's a good point. But that's only one tiny part of the total fossil fuels that you burn when you live in a home. You heat that home, you cool that home, you mow the lawn around that home, you get in a car and drive usually long distances to work and back every day in that home. That home, it took an incredible amount of fossil fuels to build that home. And you say, well, it was already built when I bought it. Well, if you were out of that home, that's a home that wouldn't have to be built because you're adding it back into the inventory. And so that home is destroying the earth. The American way of life is destroying the earth. How do you blame us? It's the rest of the world. It's not us. America is about 5% of the world's population, and we consume 25% of the world's resources. We have pumped more carbon dioxide into the air, which is causing all these things, and methane, than any other country. In fact, I just saw a report of all the total amount of carbon dioxide emitted by the top 10 countries, and America has put out more carbon dioxide into the air over the years, over the decades, than the next 9 put together. We are the #1 offender. You and I, in our hyper-consumer luxury lifestyles, are doing this to the planet. We used to call these things acts of God. That wasn't true then, but it's especially not true now. Now it's acts of incredibly selfish and stupid people. That's what we should be calling these things. In 50 years, in 100 years, that's what everyone will call it. A catastrophe caused by incredibly selfish people that were willing to make any sacrifice of our living environment for their own selfish means, because they didn't want to make any sacrifices of their way of life. It's time to make a change. One of my primary motives in all I've done, starting the website, starting the channel, starting the RTR, everything I've done every day when I do something is climate change. Because the science behind it has been around, well, it's been around for centuries, but the science of what we are doing today to the planet has been around so long. And because I was aware of what was happening, I felt a responsibility. First, to what we're doing to try and prevent it, to do whatever little bit I could do to prevent it, and to people who were going to suffer because of it. And so I knew that it took a lifestyle change, and so I had a lifestyle. I had discovered this lifestyle, which was wonderful and made your life happier. And so I wanted to tell everyone, for two reasons, to offer you the carrot of a far better life. This is a far better way of life than living in a house. And that's why so many of you have responded, why my channel has grown, and why you're watching this video right now. You feel in your heart, this is a better way of life. So that's a carrot, and I'm offering that carrot because it's a wonderful, wonderful way of life. I want it for you. But also the stick, that if we don't stop, this is what happens. Lakes dry out. We're not going to have water to drink. Our whole world is going to burn down around us. We're going to watch millions of people die. The whole globe will become climate refugees. And there's another carrot right there. When the climate refugees start, you and I will be practically refugees, because when California burns down or Louisiana gets swamped over and over again with climate change, with hurricanes, we can turn the key and drive away. We're ready for climate change. And those are the reasons why I do everything I do. A carrot to offer you this fantastic way of life, and a stick that we can prevent this horrible, horrible disaster that's coming. So today I want you to grab the carrot. If you've been on the fence, if you've been thinking, oh, I could do that, I'd really like to do it, but it's so hard and I don't want to, take the carrot. Avoid the stick. Take the carrot and avoid the stick. And maybe, if enough of us do it, there'll be a little less fire. There'll be a little less drought. There'll be a little less heat. We all have to play our part, and it's got to be done globally, and it's got to be done at the highest levels of government. And so let me read this final sentence from the IPCC report to you again. We must redefine our way of life and consumption. I'm offering it to you, friends, a simple way to redefine your way of life and consumption that makes your life better. And so the rest of the world is thinking, oh no, I can't make these sacrifices. I'm telling you, you're going to sacrifice something that doesn't really work and find something that really, really does. So, carrot or the stick, whatever reason, get out of that house, move into a van. Get ready for climate change. Know in your own heart that you've done everything you reasonably can to prevent what's coming, and it is coming. This is just the bare beginning. It's going to get so much worse. So please, I hope, I know I always talk about the carrot, but if you know about the stick and the carrot, I hope that makes the carrot look a whole lot better. Please, friends, take hold of the carrot. Find the motivation, get yourself into a vehicle, and be happier. I don't feel bad about making these harsh videos when the ultimate goal is to make your life better and happier, and to make future generations better off. So I'll stop there. I know I'm going to get letters. I know I can already hear you out there typing away and writing letters saying, oh, Bob, it's all a lie. It's all a communist plot. It's just the socialists trying to take over. None of that's true. There's not a shred of truth to that. I'm sorry you believe those foolish things. Maybe I'll shoot a video just on the science and the history of the science of climate change. It's so obvious. It's so easy to understand. It's so unmistakable. This is not an act of God. And you and I have the choice to stop being those selfish and stupid people by making ourselves even happier. Please do that. So if you got anything out of this video, then like us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and hit that thumbs up button. And if you didn't get anything out of this video, if you hate my guts now, then hit the dislike button 5 times. Teach me a lesson. Hit that dislike button 5 times. And leave me a comment below. Do you think it's all nonsense? Do you think it's all a lie? Or are you willing and ready now to grab the carrot and let go of the stick? I hope you are. We'll talk to you later.